Now that's a big pile of horse shizzle. There are those that say I am not fit to shovel that from one place to another, but I disagree. Because there was about a 2-ton pile of it there, and I've just shifted about 2/3 of a ton of it from one place to another. Up on the farm, there's another barrow full down there. We've had a break in the weather, boys and girls. It's been a really nice morning this morning, and so we're getting as much done as we possibly can today. We've weeded, or rather the lady farmer has done the majority of the weeding on about 8 of the beds. We've cleared out a lot of other stuff. There are midges in proliferation all over the place. We have a cornucopia of flying insects all over us at the moment. But I guess that's because of the break in the weather. It's been doing nothing but rain, and now it's a relatively warm, dry day. And out they've come. I've been eaten alive. But so today we're going to be doing a few bits and pieces. We made a concoction to fight the whitefly, the little whitefly that are knocking around. There's hundreds all over the kale and that, and the remaining brassicas at the moment. So I made a concoction, and it's 10 litres worth of water with natural liquid soap, not the detergent stuff, some natural liquid soap in there, about 50 millilitres of that, which is like a double Jack Daniels worth of that gone into it, 6 cloves of garlic, and vinegar. Now we just use the normal pickling vinegar that we had there. There's about 50 mils of pickling vinegar gone into it, and I'm just filtering it now at the top in the kale bed, and I'll show you that in a second or two. The kids are down, so's the lady farmer, and Mother Earth's with us today as well. So yeah, hope you enjoy today's episode at the Little Farmer's Farm. I'm Guru Mafinda, and I'll see you shortly if I don't get eaten alive by insects. Alright, see you in a bit. Here's the proof I am fit to shovel it from one place to another. And there it is. Well rotted. It's been down in that big pile. It's about a 2-ton pile that's been down there for over a year now, really. And it's all sort of rotted down to a decent consistency. As you can see, there's still some vegetation still left in there, but we're going to top dress the beds with this and have them in for overwintering, get all that rich nutrition down into the soil. As it washes down, the frost breaks it up and all of that kind of thing. It'll make the beds good and healthy for next spring. But that's not all we're doing today. We're going to be doing all sorts of bits and pieces, hopefully. We've still got some harvesting to do, still more stuff to come out. And we're going to get some alliums in. We're going to get some more onions and garlic in, and winter springies that we started off. It's kind of like spring onions, but they're for going through winter with. They're actually a nice little veggie. Here's the little farmer. That says it all. Greens, glorious greens, doesn't it?
Yep.
So what are you doing, little farmer, today? Helping?
Yep.
Yep.
I just got this pen thinking like, when are we going to go camping?
Right, let's crack on. So in the beds we've done quite a bit of weeding, the lady farmer has anyway, and hoeing, raking, and I'm just top dressing now with that fairly well rotted horse manure. That's going to be then covered up over winter. We're going to raise it up to a little bit above the level of where the border is, so it's like a small hill in the middle. Cover it up for over winter, peg it all down, make sure it's totally covered up with the weed membrane. Bradley, be quiet, lad. And then we'll leave it then until springtime, so that'll have about 6 months worth of settling in, and the nutrients from the horse manure will be pulled down into the soil, and then a quick dig over then just before planting. Should be fine for next year. So that's the plan. We've got all that there that Magical Mick got us when they had the wood chip drop last week. So that's going to be reintegrated into the paths there once we've finished doing that, and that's us. But as I say, loads of weeding being done today. All of these have been weeded on the lady farmer's side, and about half of the ones on my side, on the original little farm. So that's where we're at. That's what we're up to. All right, see you in a bit. So that's the concoction that we made, which is the liquid soap, organic liquid soap, not detergent, garlic and vinegar. And what that will hopefully do is get rid of some of these bloody whitefly that we've got. We've got tons of them at the moment. That's the concoction that's being filtered down now, but the whitefly are all over these. Let's see if I can get a shot of them. The kale. There you go. Swarms of whitefly devouring my beautiful kale. So hopefully that'll get shut of those. And well, we'll see, because that's going to go into that, which is a kill sprayer, bug sprayer. Costs about a tenner for one of them. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. You can see it's dripping through, it's being filtered. We're filtering all the particles out of it, all the big lumps and smaller lumps. So it's a liquid format, and then that goes in there and it doesn't clog up your sprayer when you're applying it to your plants. Okay. So James, what have you got there, James? A bucket of ex-potatoes. Pentland javelin. Go and carry them up to that bed. Now these were the ones that lasted about 8 weeks and then died off, didn't they? So we're going to see what we've got anyway, aren't we? We're going to tip them out.
They're heavier than normal.
Well, they must be full of spuds. What do you reckon? We're not holding out much hope, but we're going to see. I've just tipped one out and we've got a few potatoes in it, but they're only very small ones. I'll show you now. If I can get past the little farmer. Not many there. We're not going to get a full feed out of them, are we? But no. We've got 6. In fact, we've got 9 buckets to empty. So we might get a meal out of them. Won't be for Christmas, obviously, but we'll see how we get on. They were full of worms, widdly worms, though. Do you want to tip that out, mate? And we'll see. Well, we'll do it live now. Tip that out onto that bed and see what we've got. Are you going around that way? Yeah. Right, give it a kick over. A tip over. Tip it out.
Oh, hello, Mr. Worm.
Sip it out. There's loads of worms. That last one I did, there was loads of worms in it. Okay. Yeah, it's more like a wormery than a potato. Well, I can see 1 or 2. Go on, give it a tip. That's it. Right, go on, lift her. Plenty of worms in there. There's the sea potato right at the bottom. If we'd have had the weather, they'd have been good ones, these. Right, give them a root through them, see if there's any potatoes in there. We might have 1 or 2, you never know, do you? We have got plenty of worms in it, by the look of it.
Oh, found one. Sorry, baby.
A little baby one, right in the bucket it goes. Any more? Are there any? Any at all? Little tiny one. Get that in there.
There's some more. Whoa, look, it's an orange centipede.
Oh yeah, a western yellow. There's a western yellow there, boys and girls. Centipede.
How big that? Look.
It is like a little wormery though, this, James. It'll not be no harm to the soil, I don't think, will it? No. Let's have a good root, see if there's anything else in there.
There's thousands.
There's thousands of worms, isn't there? There's a little tiny one. We don't want to leave that in the ground.
Look, there's another that you just covered up.
Oh yeah, little ones there.
There's one right here.
Right, go on. See if there's any more.
There's a lot.
So that's what we're getting from our little Christmas haul, which isn't very many. But that's the bunko booth, boys and girls, isn't it? Get the widdly worms out. Those widdly worms will be good for the soil, won't they, mate? The widdly waddlies. Yeah, there are thousands of them. Why are there
so many?
Do you know, I've no idea, but they must like this particular soil that we did. If you look back in the videos, you'll see the soil that we use. Look at those worms, there's thousands of worms. It is like an actual wormery, this.
There's millions.
So, yeah, when God gives you lemons, you make lemonade, don't you?
Yeah.
Or you make a wormery. Cool. That'll do. Don't know if you can make that out, but that's the Charlotte. And that was the 5th of the 8th, 5th of August, 2019. And it's, I think it's the 12th of September, but those died off quite a long time ago, about 3 weeks ago then. So we're not holding out much hope. But you never know with Charlotte. Let's have a look. See if we've actually got anything out of them. Oh, sorry about this, guys. Let's see if we got anything. Oh, yes, we've got spuds. There's the odd one or two. Oh yeah, got a few. Well, we've got 3, 4.
You'd have to find the potatoes. Oh.
Got loads of worms.
Ah, be careful. Careful.
Yeah, so that's 4 buckets so far. We've had the Pentland Javelin and the Charlotte. Get the rest and see how we get on.
Monkey dial.
Mini digger, tell her what you found.
That and that.
That and that.
Yeah, 2 food.
A western yellow and a wiggly worm.
That one, and that one. It's going down.
Do you like them?
Yeah. I go with them.
So we've got the Maris Pier. Can you see that? Yeah. Again, 5th of the 8th, 2019. We've got 3 of them, so let's see what we get. I'm going to do a separate bucket for them, see if we... Because they seem to have done a little bit better than the other 2, the Charlotte and the Pentland. So we'll see what we get. Can't speak. That's just been tipped out, and they're already looking a bit better. I'll just pause it, and then we can see what we got from the one bucket. So yeah, that was the one bucket of the Maris Pier. It's a shame really that these didn't get the chance to carry on growing, because I mean they were running sort of like halfway through. Well, I guess they were 2/3 of the way through the growing, but it's only when you get about halfway through the growing that they actually start producing tubers. So they get about 6 weeks worth of tuber growth really out of the 12 weeks. And yeah, it's a pity that. Pity. Anyway, never mind. We'll see how we get on all together, eh? What we get out of the Maris. That's the last of the Maris Pier. What a shame, isn't it? They didn't grow to full fruition, these. Because they'd have been blinding, wouldn't they? Put them in the bucket, them ones, mate. The blue potato there at the top, can you see it?
What? There's a blue... Aren't they
Put them in that bucket behind you.
Aren't blue potatoes rare?
Oh, I think they're very rare, yeah, I would imagine. Right, get into that and see what we've got.
How much money could you sell them for?
Oh, thousands of pounds. Be like winning the lottery.
Are we going to sell it?
It's a plastic egg from Easter, that, mate.
Oh.
Right, go on, get rooting. Get rooting. Oh, look at that beauty. Get into it. Such a shame that these died back, innit, and died off, because they'd have been a contender, wouldn't they? Let's break it apart, eh? See if there's any more in it. Yeah, they're falling out. Tumbling out. Not too bad of a reveal, this, really, to considering, is it? Tiny baby ones. Right, give it a riddle through, that, mate. Give it a good riddle through. In fact, yeah. No, don't stamp on it, just...
Did you put horse poo in it?
And pig's poo, and dog's poo and all that. Yeah, all that.
Smells like
Whatever poo I could find, really.
Smells like it. So you put your own poo in it?
No, I put some of yours in. That was what give it its distinctive aroma. Give it a riddle through that and see if you can get the plants out. It's not real poo, James. But the worms like it, don't they?
Yep.
Shall I pick it up and give it a shake?
Look, another Western yellow.
Another Western... We're overrun with Western yellows, aren't we, at the minute? Another Western yellow centipede in the mix.
More Western.
A mating pair. Right, so for the potato reveal, even though we're like
And bigger, it's better.
4 weeks early, the Maris Pear from 3 buckets, 3 seed potatoes, those are the results for the Maris Pear. And the seed potatoes were no bigger than this, each one. So there's 3 seed potatoes, and that's what we got. And then, yeah, but they're not seed potatoes. Those ones, the Charlotte and the Pentland Javelin, and that is probably, I would say, in weight. Oh yeah, we got that one as well out of the Maris Pear. I would say in weight and relative size, the 3 buckets of the Maris Pear.
I broke the raw potato.
Oh God. So the 3 buckets.
How much would it sell for if it's broken?
Oh, you don't get nothing if they're broken. So shush a minute. 3 buckets of Maris Pear, 6 buckets, or 3 buckets each, of Pentland Javelin and Charlotte, and that's the result. I think it's Maris Pear all the way, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're riveted, aren't you, mate? Absolutely riveted.
Nothing happened to it. Yeah, we can still sell it.
You're not as excited as the last potato reveal. You were jumping for joy then, literally, doing karate moves and all sorts.
Because last time we got massive ones.
We did. We got good results, didn't we?
See, nothing broken. We can still sell it.
Mhm. So right, well let's crack on with the rest of our work.
Yep.
Okay. See you in a bit. So yeah, there's the potato reveal, the Christmas potato reveal. Not too bad. Better than I thought, actually. Really. We've got all together, I think, out of the 9 buckets, I think we've probably got about £3.5–4 pound. If they'd have carried on for the duration, I think we'd have got close to £18–19 pounds out of them. Certainly out of the Maris Pear. We'd have got triple what we've got there if there'd have been ideal conditions for them, at least, easily. Yeah, right. Maris Pear is a potato I shall be growing next year. Middle of March. Right. See you in a bit. So we've got carrots that we've taken up. Little baby ones, aren't they? Look at them. It's a shame for them. But yeah, varying in sizes. Just scattered into a bucket then. And underneath them there's some green beans and some of those Cosy Violet, climbing French beans. Beetroot. We've got beetroot. The spaghetti squash. Natasha Goswabi. Spaghetti squash. That's difficult to say when you've got a dodgy tooth and a Wigan accent. And that's the last of the courgettes, really, that made the muster. So that courgette plant's going to be coming out very shortly. That one got a bit of rot, a bit of vine end rot on it. That. But yeah, there's a 6 squash there. Oh, we've got the 3 pumpkins as well. I'll show you the pumpkins. There's the 3 pumpkins that we had left.
That's not nice, but it's not like that.
4 pumpkins, look. And a reindeer. So that was the big one that died off early on, which if it had carried on growing would have been massive. But it stopped growing about 10 weeks ago.
No, did that.
And then these 2 more came on. There was another one that we've taken the other day, all off the same plant. It's quite big. Relatively big. Not a bad size for making jack-o'-lanterns out of, are they?
Yeah, one of them is the size.
So our magic tincture is in here. I'm going to pump that up now and get the pressure inside it. So we give them a bit of a whittle first, just to get them flying. And we give them a good spraying all underneath. There's something very satisfying about this. Of course, you've got to keep applying it. Sort of every 7 to 10 days for full effect. I mean, some of these kale, these Robert De Niro kale, might not make the cut, but we're hoping we're going to get results on the borer kale, or the curly kale we've got here. That's the hope anyway, that's the plan. Hoping that those are going to recover enough. Get up underneath the leaves obviously on these, because that's where the little buggers hide. And then what I'll do is I'll go on the other side of it and repeat the process going back down the line. If you've got lots and lots of them, you can spend hours, I suppose, spraying it, and you'll need a full 5 litre, maybe to do a 16 foot by 4 row, but there's only a sort of 4 foot row there, 2 4-foot rows of them, 4 plants essentially, so you not need that much of it to do those. But I'm going to give them a good dousing, and that should rid me temporarily of the whitefly issue, although there are hundreds of thousands of whitefly on the plot. So I'm going to treat any plants, especially sort of the brassica style plants that we've got there. They tend to go for those Brussels sprouts, as you saw from a video earlier, are a particular favourite for the whitefly. They're actually a moth, a tiny moth. They're not a fly at all, but they're a tiny moth. But they are a pest, like, you know. They're a pain in the backside with your brassicas. So that's how we treat them. Yeah, every 7 to 10 days, give them a dousing. They start coming out usually back end of August, and then into the sort of fall or autumn months, you get plagued with them on your brassicas. Certainly around this neck of the woods in northern England. All right, so yeah, fingers crossed on those. That's a lovely sight to see that. That's been playing up because I think it was left on. That was left on. Like this, switched on. Which you don't want because it's not been charging that. So I'm going to leave that off and let nature work its magic. Luckily we've got the backup kit, which is the gas one. And I've just made a brew. Or I've just boiled a kettle. I'm in the throes of making a brew. Classique. Loa classique. And there's the finished article. That was a good coffee. That was nice. So that's about it. We're wrapping up now. The lady farmer has gone home with the 2 little boys, and Grandma's gone with them. We've got some more planting to do tomorrow. Hopefully there'll be a little bit of a catch up tomorrow for you, because we're going to be sticking in some snowball onion, and we're going to be putting in some radar onion for overwintering, and also some garlic. I think it's elephant garlic mix. Give it us. It's not elephant garlic. I don't think it's not big enough. That's it. So that's the garlic. There's plenty of cloves on there. There's probably about 16 cloves on there. So we're going to be getting that in. We're going to be getting some more from the shop as well. But this is the garlic, I believe, that Mick grew last year. I think. A lot of thinking going on and not enough knowing, isn't there, on this one. But yeah, he's given us this morning that Mick, as well as the snowball. Exhibit B. And Exhibit C, and all of these radar. So they're going to be going in now is the time. Well, over the next month, you want to be getting your alliums in for overwintering. So you get them in the ground now, a good thumb's depth below the surface, so that it's at least twice the depth of the bulb itself, so that the bulb's bum is sat twice its own depth below the ground. And then you want to cover it over. Then you can cover it over with some manure, bit of a top dressing of that, and just leave that in there. And maybe this year, if you plant about this time of year, you'll get the shoots coming up. You'll get the shoots coming up before the winter takes hold. But then in the new year, you'll start to see the proper growth coming through. Then around about February, March, April time, you'll be harvesting them back end of April into May. You'll be getting the garlic out. You'll be getting the onions out then, and so there you go. There's your first crop of your alliums. As soon as they're out, if you want to, you can put some fresh ones back in. Just prepare the soil again and get some new ones in, and then you'll be harvesting them through the back end of summer and into autumn. You can do it successionally. That's what we're planning on doing next year, getting more of a grip on the successional growing. And yeah, so I'll catch you later. Have a good weekend, the rest of it. Saturday night tonight, don't get too drunk. And if I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window. This is Guru Mafinda signing out. And God bless you all. Bye-bye now.